Running a retail business doesn't have to be so hard. Welcome to the Creative Shop Talk podcast, the go-to podcast for creative shop owners, studio owners, and independent retailers. I'm your host, Wendy Batten, retail business coach and mentor. Each week, I'll share simple, proven business strategies, inspiring stories from fellow retailers, and advice from industry experts. Together, we're going to work to find the success you want from your retail business with more profits in your till and a little more joy in your life. Well, hey there, my friend. Welcome back to the Creative Shop Talk podcast. I'm currently sitting in my office and sweltering. It is so warm where I am right now. So if you're new around here, hi, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. If you're returning and you've listened to all of our podcasts, I am, grateful that you're here, and you know how I feel about you, and I love you. I love you dearly, and I'm so happy that you're here, which is funny because I did a whole podcast once on love in your business, and people thought it was weird and then not weird. So now I'm digressing and not talking about the topic of the day. So my team bullied me. I don't know if that's the right word. My team bullied me into doing this podcast episode today for you. So we're going to talk about profits. The reason that they bullied me into this, and I guess I shouldn't say bullied me into it, they just explained to me why it's important and why I needed to share my passion. And I don't do that enough. We're going to talk about profitability in your business. We're also going to talk about simplifying it. We're also going to talk about the fact that Wendy is frustrated. I'm so frustrated about retailers that are frustrated about understanding their numbers, because that's the lifeline of your business. That is what we're here for. If we don't have money moving in and money moving out, and money moving in and money moving out in a good, healthy way, we don't have a business. It's not about being weirdo profit gouging and all of that. If you're listening to this, I hope you are a heart-centered, awesome entrepreneur, but we need to have a profit. There needs to be bills paid. There needs to be rent paid. Your staff need to be paid. You need to stay in business for your community. You need to buy inventory. You need to sell inventory. You need to buy new things. You need to stay relevant. You need to invest in your community. That all takes profit. It all takes profit from your business. So a lot of retailers tell me that they're flying by the seat of their pants. Literally, I literally just onboarded a new client, a new private coaching client last week. And she's like, Wendy, I'm just flying by the seat of my pants. Money in, money out, money in, money out. I don't really know what I'm doing. And marketing is exhausting me. So I have created it's a program, a workshop, a masterclass. It is a very short masterclass that I have given to my Retailers Inner Circle clients, my private clients, my mastermind clients have been using this ridiculously simple. It's so simple that I didn't want to talk about it, and that's why my team bullied me. I'm sharing this because this has been previously only available inside my program, the Retailers Inner Circle. I've mentioned it on the podcast a couple of times, but this whole podcast today is to explain to you why you need this and why it's important. And if you're listening and you're a Retailer Inner Circle member, I want you to go. I want you to schedule some time. I want you to go grab that inside the masterclasses and just do it. Just do it. Just do it. My frustration is around retailers that have really awesome stores, like so freaking awesome store. Like your stores are amazing. They're doing the work. They're hustling. And as I mentioned, this other client the other day, she said, Wendy, I'm flying by the seat of my pants, and her shop is awesome. So here's what she needed to know. She needed to know really what her sales needed to be, because she was really just looking at last year's numbers. She wasn't really looking ahead or predicting or forecasting. And you know what? I'm not going to tell you to do that either. What I am going to tell you to do is have a peek at what your expenses are. What's your overhead? What do we need? We call it the keep the lights on number. I'm sure you've heard me mention it here if you've been around for a while. But I want to tell you that also the really important number is your cost of goods. Like, what did it cost you to make that sale today? Like, if you sold something for $100, what did you pay to put it on the shelf? And we have that information at our fingertips in our POS systems. So we need to know how to use the numbers. And I think that's the frustration. So another client of mine, Kayla, she said, I have all this information. I don't know what the heck to do with it. So that's what we're doing with this. Again, this Profits Masterclass is so ridiculously simple, simplified. I'm literally calling it the back of the napkin math, back of the napkin workshop. It is like a little, okay, it is a spreadsheet, but we're calling it a calculator because it's literally a calculator for you. It's a few numbers you plug in, and it's numbers that you can go and get in your POS system. I know you're smart. I know you probably, some of you are listening are digging into all of the numbers, but this little calculator on this calculator disguised as a spreadsheet. It's a small spreadsheet. It's easy to work. For some reason, when I say spreadsheets, everybody sort of tunes out, but it's literally, I am not a spreadsheet girl. I digress as well quite often here. Sorry, but it is important that we do this. I call it simplified. I have taken all of the simple numbers, all of the basic numbers that you need, and to help you figure out what is the real sales goal that you need. What is the real sales goal you need? What do you need to keep the lights on, to make your paycheck, to make your team's paycheck, to have profit at the end of the day, to have some extra money, because profit is what buys you the new things. Profit buys you the new cash wrap you want, or pays for renovations in your shop, or whatever it is that you want to do extra. We need profit in our business. That is like, it's the blood, like it needs to move. We need to have profit in our business. We can't be so tight that we're like chasing money all the time. And that's what a lot of you are doing. So we understand with this simple little back of the napkin calculator, we are going to find our real sales number. And we are also going to understand, we're going to plug in our expenses, and then we're going to know, we're going to go and we're like, and see what our margins need to be. So what is the cost of goods? What is that percentage of each sale that is going towards the product that we purchased? So margin, cost of goods, markup, all of that sounds like there's different percentages, different numbers. I have retailers, and I'm not going to mention. So I have a retailer just said to me, I was going to mention her name, but I don't want to call her out because she's been on the podcast before. And anyway, a lot of people know she's my client. Here we go. I have a client who has been in business for 11 years, maybe 12. I think it's 12 now. And has never looked at this, has never looked at it with this lens, this simplicity of figuring out what number do we need this week, this month, this quarter, however you're figuring out your numbers. I love quarterly planning. You all know I have quarterly planning. I have a quarterly planning program that you're invited to come and join. If you ever want to join us, every quarter for the next 4 quarters, we are doing quarterly planning. It has been fun. It's going to be awesome. If you want to join us, we'll do it together. We'll do this math together. But right now, you can grab my masterclass. The Profits Masterclass will help you figure out the sales. So what are your expenses? What is your payroll? Like basic numbers. We're going to plug them into this little calculator. The cool part of this, and the part that I'm not talking about, and this was sort of the bully part, my team were sort of bullying me or pushing me to do this and to share this information with you in this podcast, is to let you know that once we have that sales number, and I ask you why is that your sales number? You can answer. You can say, hey, it's because it gives me this and it pays for that, and this is what we need. And then the next question people say is, well, that's great, Wendy. I have this arbitrary number now that I'm going to go chase, but we have a reason for it, right? Now we know we want to bring in $30,000 this month, or $40,000, or whatever the number is, $3, whatever the number is. It's just zeros, my friends. So let's say our number is 30,000, and you're like, well, Wendy, that's just awesome for you. Like, great, we figured out the number. I just hope that we make it. That is not a strategy. The next thing that we have on the calculator, like all on this tiny little calculator, this one little sheet of paper, this one little spreadsheet, one little calculator, the next number is, I'm going to ask you, and you're going to be able to tell me, how many people do we need to walk in the door this week or this month or this quarter? And you're going to be able to tell me because you're going to have that calculator. And that calculator is going to be able to share with you. I'm very excited. Can you tell? That calculator will tell you how many people need to walk in the shop. Well, how will it know? How will it know, Wendy, that how many people we need to shop? Because we're going to put in the average order value. We're going to put in what you've been averaging for your order value and where we want to go with that. So we put in the average order value, but then that's not all really that we need. We also need to know, well, that's great. If 100 people walk in the shop, not everybody buys. We've talked about this on the podcast several times. That's called conversion. How many people walk in the door versus, and then how many people buy? That's a conversion number. So let's say 50%. So I actually just did some numbers with another client. Another client gave me the story. This is the story. I know she needed 148 people to walk in the shop on a certain weekend in order to make her goal. She needed 50% of them, and which was her average conversion rate, to purchase. And she had a certain number to make her sales goal that weekend. So we started talking about, what does she have control over? So we started playing with the calculator. Well, we have control over people coming in. We can market, we can do visibility strategy, we can do events. We have a whole sales accelerator program for you. The sales accelerator program will tell you how to do all of these things. And just check them out on my website at wendybatten.com/work with me. You can find all those on-demand. These are on-demand workshops you can go grab. But anyhow, again, I digress, but that is a good program. So the sales accelerator program, in the sales accelerator program, we talk about, but you already maybe know this. We talk about visibility, how to get people in the door. There's lots of ways to get people in the door. We don't just wait. We don't have hope strategy. That's not marketing. That's not marketing. I don't know what that is. That is a lazy retailer if you're just waiting for people to come in. So we have visibility strategies. We have engagement strategies to get people, to invite them into our shop. So that's our foot traffic number, and we have control over that. We also have control over conversion. Well, Wendy, I can't make people buy. I can't make people buy when they come in. Yes, you can. And again, we've done podcast episodes on this. It's all in my Sales Accelerator Strategy program. It's inside my Retailers Inner Circle program. There's lots of ways that you have control over purchasing in the store, from people that wander in to people that buy. And I watched my client, the one who was trying to figure out for the weekend, she needed so many people to come in. Her team got together and they did it. They were like, how can we just be like the best? How can we just serve at our best? And so they are trained sales. She has trained her sales staff. We have put in a sales training program with her staff. So they do warm welcomes. They ask the right questions. They assume sales. They have sales training so that they have control over that. They have re-merchandised the store. They have put good signing. They have done all the things that you can do inside your store. And there's lots of things you can do inside your store to encourage sales, to encourage your conversion rate change. So a couple of percentages different. She went from 50% conversion rate this particular weekend that we were monitoring to a 72%. That made a huge difference. So she didn't have as much foot traffic come in, actually, because it was really bad weather and that affects her sales. But she did have a higher conversion. And then the next number that you need to know, and the next number that has an effect that you can play with, and you can actually look and say, hey, I need to make this sales number this weekend. What else can I do? Well, I can look at my average order value and I can say to myself, well, how can I train my team and how can we make a difference in our average order? How can we do more suggestive selling? How can we invite people? How can we show and tell and explain and do more, I guess, to serve our customers in that way? And guess what? Her average order value went up. So she blew her weekend sales numbers out of the water, and she knew what they needed to be. She knew what they needed to be because she used the calculator, and her and her team looked at the calculator, the marketing calculator, the tiny, these are 3 numbers we're going to play with. I'm telling you, it's so powerful. It's so fun. And I'm very excited about this. So I'm very excited that we're able to share this with you. So this is the Profits Masterclass that I'm talking about, and it is in our control. It is in your control to put your hand up and say yes. We are offering this right now at $47. I probably don't normally talk about price on my podcast because if you're listening to this 3 years down the road, it's probably going to be a much higher priced workshop. However, it might not even be available, but right now we are offering it on demand. It's $47 because I want to put it in your hands. And this isn't me, I don't know, I'm not trying to be pushy. I'm trying to be helpful. And this is what I tell you to do with your customers. I have something that will help you greatly These numbers are simple. Here's what you're going to do with those numbers you have in your POS system. These are the numbers we look at when we have our CEO dates, our money dates. These are the numbers you can share with your clients, with your team members. These are the numbers that will get everybody on board, including yourself, energetic and enthusiastic. These are the numbers that you can sit down and you can discuss as a team. How can we make these numbers better? And I have seen it. I've witnessed it over and over and over again. I have had clients who have been working on all of these bits for a while, and some who have been working with me for a while, who are finally saying, they're like, aha, I love this. This is so awesome. So I wanted to share this with you. Again, this is called the Profits Masterclass. Maybe we shouldn't call it a Profits Masterclass, because when I tell people it's about profits, they kind of roll their eyeballs, but that's what it's about. It's about figuring out the profits that you need to make in order to stay in business. Well, how do we make profits? It's by making sales. How do we make sales? It's by figuring out our expenses, our operations, all the things, and about knowing our cost of goods. Now that we have this sales number and we know what we need so that we can have a profit, how do we get there? Well, we give you that calculator too, that three little part calculator of figuring out, and it's fun to play with. I'm going to tell you right now, it's like, do we need 1,000 people to walk in the door today and, convert at this number? And do we, be content with this average order? Or do we bring that number down or bring it up? Or do we, how do we control? This is empowering. And I actually don't like the word empowering, because I don't know why. I just don't like the word empowering, because you're already empowered to do this. But I just want to remind you that you are in control. And this does feel freaking good when you start implementing these numbers. And again, it's kind of contagious. It'll be contagious with your staff too. So you can play with it with them. So all of that to say, my team bullied me into telling you about it and why I'm so excited about it. As you all know, I love to say awesome is never accidental. It's my new favorite soundtrack, if you will. And I don't think that you can feel awesome about your numbers. I don't think that things can be awesome if we don't know what they are. We're just sort of winging it. We're flying by the seat of our pants. As I mentioned, one of my clients, a new client recently, this was like such a relief for her, in that she didn't really know what direction, didn't know what she was doing wrong. And I hate the word wrong, because we're just doing what we know how to do. But if we don't know, we don't know, right? Even after, years and years of being in retail, even after being successful in retail, it just wears you down after a while. This is fresh. And I say fresh because this is a new way. It's not a new way. This is there's lots of you out there probably have been doing this for a long time. These are the numbers you record and you look at. This is literally a fresh, simple way. Maybe that's a better way of looking at it. It's a simple and easy way. Back of the napkin. Let's just look at it. Let's figure out what we have to do, and let's just go for it. There's so many awesome things happening in retail right now. I know we love to hear the negative things, but I'm going to tell you there's a lot of wonderful things happening to retailers that are doing the work, and who are putting all the effort, putting the effort in the right levers. And I share that these are the levers, the ones that I'm sharing on this calculator / spreadsheet, is really, these are the levers. These are the things that matter. These are the things that will be so helpful to you. And I just wanted to share them. My team and I were trying to figure out how to get them in more retail, how to get this crazy little workshop. It's so simple. It's ridiculous. It's a short little video of me gabbing and explaining it. And then it's a short little spreadsheet calculator that would probably make your accountant roll his eyes, because he's like, this, they'll be like, this is not technical at all. And I'm like, that's the point. We're trying to make it super simple. We're just playing with numbers to see what we need to do. Anyhow, go there, go grab it if you'd like it. It's on my website at wendybatten.com/work with me. All my programs, on-demand programs, including the Inner Circle. If you're an Inner Circle member, and if you're not an Inner Circle member, jump in the Inner Circle. This is where I give away all this stuff. This is where I put all this stuff. It is all in there already, so you don't need to buy it if you're an Inner Circle member. So you might as well just jump ahead and go join us inside the Retailer's Inner Circle program. But if you don't want to do that, and you just want to have this little program, this simple, easy back-of-the-napkin math, you can find it. It's also at wendybatten.com/profit, because profit is important. Profit is what keeps us going. Profit is the money in, money out, money in, money out. That's how we succeed. That's how we have awesome, enthusiastic, energetic, happy, joy-filled, easeful businesses is by paying our bills and having profit at the end of the day. Okay, my friend, I hope this has been helpful to you. I want to encourage you, if you're not going to go grab my workshop, to make sure you do know those numbers and be on top of your numbers and know why. Ask yourself why. Why are these numbers the numbers I'm chasing? And what can I do? Because we have so much control and you are so awesome. And as I said, awesome is never accidental. You're doing all the wonderful things. So thank you for listening today. We have some great podcast episodes coming up for the rest of the summer. I hope you will join us, and we'll talk to you soon. Well, that's it for this week's episode of the Creative Shop Talk podcast. I'm so glad that you're here to join us this week, and I hope you found value in what we're sharing here. I want to remind you that our website has all of the show notes. You can find it at wendybatten.com/podcast. Everything that you need to hear about today's podcast is there. Also an opportunity if you need to reach out to me. If I can support you in any way whatsoever, please feel free to reach out. So thanks for joining us. Please leave a review, subscribe if you can, and never miss an episode. We hope to see you back here again next week. Thanks, my friend. Have a great week.